Hey guys, if you're watching this video and your wife is within an earshot, it's probably safest just to hit the watch later button and not watch this while she's around. Otherwise, you're going to end up sleeping on the couch, divorced, or the most beautiful weather days of the year, you're going to be doing chores around the house. So let's keep this on the down low. And I'm sorry that I specified if your wife could hear this. According to my YouTube statistics, 100% of the people who watch this channel have a Y chromosome. So if you are a lady and you honestly, if you don't have this problem, if you're a woman, if you're like, hey, I want to buy a plane, no man's get this one's for the boys. So how much does it cost to own and maintain an aircraft like my Comanche? It's a complicated answer because some things about airplanes are cheap to maintain. That's a lie. It's all expensive. It costs a lot. But let me show you how much some different aspects of owning an airplane are going to cost you. First and foremost, the number one cost is the cost of acquisition. That's going to cost you a little bit of money, but you got to be ready to pay for a plane if you want to own and maintain a plane. You definitely end up putting a lot of money right here in this area. Don't forget this side. You're going to spend money here too. I hate to say it, but it's quite possible you're going to spend more money here than you even paid to acquire the airplane. I don't know what these blue stains here are on this this landing gear, but it's probably nothing that a couple of $100 bills can't fix. Yeah. You're definitely going to be spending money on things like that. All right, this whole area right here is nothing but opportunity. You have a chance to spend more money here than probably any other part of the airplane. That right there, my friends, is where you're going to spend your money. So what I'm saying is owning and maintaining an aircraft isn't cheap at all, which is why I'd like to take a moment here and thank the sponsor of this video, Gold Seal. If you've ever wanted to become a pilot but you don't know where to start, step one is the first link in the description. You can click that link and you can try their program without paying a cent so you can find out if it's going to work for you. If you're interested in becoming a pilot, I promise you it's going to work for you. Gold Seal is head and shoulders above all of the other ground schools out there. I promise you, they wouldn't be sponsoring this channel if I didn't believe in it. I use them. I've used them. I've had fantastic results. So check out the link in the description. All right, so I know what you're thinking. Why even make this video about how much the airplane costs? They're expensive. This is kind of pretentious. I felt like I had to make this video because so many people ask me this. In fact, just the other day, my friend George Glass asked me, Brian, he said, with respect to finances, how does the Comanche compare to that Grumman you used to own? And, you know, I responded how any pilot would. I said, dude, she's right there. Are you trying to get me murdered? Not cool, George Glass. Not cool at all. Let's table this and have this discussion a different time. George was cool with that. So we waited until the following day when my wife and his girlfriend Jan were out at happy hour. He and I met at a steakhouse, and I decided to break the expenses down for him over a nice meal of pork chops and applesauce. So a while back on this channel, I made a video about how much it costs to own an airplane. At the time, I owned a Grumman Traveler, and looking back on the video, it makes me laugh. Not because it was funny, maybe because I was being just a touch melodramatic. Yeah, I said go ahead and replace it. It's just a light bulb. How much can it cost? All right, is there a way I can just give you one of my kids and we call it even? They're used, but they're in good condition. Let me see if I can have my employer just pay you directly, and then if there's any money left over, you just send it to my wife. Okay, can we convert the engine so it just runs off of $100 bills? That seems like that would be cheaper than... What kind of oil are you running in it? Is it truffle oil? What's... No, okay. All right, so let's break down some real numbers owning and operating a more complicated airplane and an older airplane, because that factors in as well. So we have fixed costs and we have variable costs. Fixed costs are going to be our hangar, our insurance. If you've got a payment, we're not going to talk about that because acquisition costs are going to be different for everybody. Annual, I think, can be classified in fixed costs. If you've got a good relationship with your mechanic, you know what your base annual is going to be. There are going to be repairs that come along with the annual, and I think those kind of fall into variable costs. I pay $2,400 a year for this hangar. In North Texas, $200 a month gets you an open T hangar with a dirt floor. It's not great, but I've been there for 10 years. I've never had any problems with it. If I wanted to go a few miles north to Denton and get an enclosed hangar, you're looking at $700, $800 a month. There's some closed hangars around here in the $500, $600 range, but for me, I've never had a problem with this open hangar, so it's what I'm going to stick with. Insurance. Insurance on my plane is the second biggest cost. Actually, we should talk about insurance for a second. So first off, a shout out to Jerry Clemens of Clemens Aviation Insurance. If you need insurance for your plane and you don't call Jerry, you're leaving money on the table. That man has done nothing but save me money since I met him. In fact, the first year I had my plane, you might remember this clip here. All right, for inquiring minds, 900-hour instrument-rated pilot with 30 hours of retract time and only a handful of hours in type. Between $50,000 and $100,000 whole value, $3,500.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Interestingly enough, I got several insurance companies that wouldn't even cover me. I got quotes well over $5,000. At the end of the day, Jerry Clemens, some of you may know him from Clemens Aviation Insurance, got me the $3,500 quote, so it was the lowest one. So I went and looked. My original policy was $3,400 a year. I upped the whole value $10,000 this year, and my policy actually went down $1,100 a year. So while most people's insurance rates are going up, mine's coming down. And I'm not stupid. I'm aware that I've got more retract time. I just can't say enough nice things about what Jerry's done for me. So I'll put his information in the description, so if you need it. Let's talk about annuals. My annuals are about the same. The base cost for the annual on my Grumman was around $2,500. The base cost for the annual on my Comanche was also $2,500. I'm using a different mechanic. I've got a local guy at my field now, and his rate may be slightly cheaper, and that may be why. But I would definitely expect a complex plane to have a more expensive annual. But first year was $2,500, $3,000. All right, let's talk about variable costs. So oil changes, I do my own to save money. I think I probably spend $300 or $400 a year. Every time I do an oil change, I buy an entire case of oil and a filter. I put in, I think, 8 quarts of oil in the Comanche. I think in the Grumman it was 6, but it's kind of negligible when we're talking about big dollars. The other variable cost, and this is where things get a little bit different, but maybe not as different as you're thinking, fuel. So let's say on average, it looks like I fly about 120 hours a year. So let's say 120 hours in the Comanche, I calculate 12 gallons per hour. Let's say it's $5.50 a gallon on average. It's probably more or less depending on where you're at. So if I do 120 hours at 12 gallons per hour, $5.50 a gallon, you're looking at $8,000 for fuel for the Comanche. Now let's say the Grumman, I fly those same hours, I'm burning 8 gallons per hour at the same price. I'm looking at $5,200 per year. So we have about a 30% increase in fuel costs. However, in the Grumman, I'm doing 105 knots. In the Comanche, I'm doing 155 knots, which is 27% faster. So in those 120 hours, I'm covering about 30% more ground for 30% more fuel cost. So when you fly an older complex plane like I fly, there's going to be unexpected expenses. I was fortunate enough to get to replace one of these this year. This one fell out. The whiskey fell out. It's a whiskey compass, they call it. Oh, I got to replace one of these. That's a fun one to replace. It started doing that while I was flying. Or it was like a spinning thing. So I got to replace that. A lot of these older planes don't come with shoulder harnesses, and I don't fly planes that don't have shoulder harnesses. It can be the difference between saving your life. I got the inertial reel harnesses from Alpha, and I think all in, it was about $4,600. So it's a lot of money for a shoulder harness. That might be something you look at as a criteria for buying a plane, because I'm not going to recoup that money when I sell it. But it's an important thing for me to have on my plane, and so there wasn't a question I'm gonna expend it. If you exclude repairs and stuff like that, I think all in on the Comanche, I'm looking at around $16,000 a year to fly at 120 hours, whereas the Grumman I was around $12,000 a year. So paying more, but I do feel like I'm covering an amount of ground that makes up for what I'm paying. So I don't feel like I'm spending more money and not getting value out of it. So anyway, those are just some kind of ballpark numbers of what you can expect to pay when you're getting out of your Grumman, your 172, your, Musketeer, whatever your kind of first plane is, and getting up to something that's a little more, faster, bigger, beefier, complex type of airplane. So. All right, in conclusion, if any of you guys see my wife this week, I would just say oh, that's really weird. Brian didn't put out a video this week. Usually he puts out a video every Sunday. Nothing to see on his YouTube channel this week. On the other hand, if you see me and all my belongings in the front yard or at an airport or in some parking lot, then it means she saw the channel and she saw the video. Aaron, those shoes you wanted, that purse, I say just buy it. Whatever, you need those things, so just get them. All right, thanks everybody for watching the video. A huge thanks to the Patreons for supporting the channel. Thank all of you guys for supporting and sharing and liking and all that good stuff. Thanks to Gold Seal. You guys fly smart, and I'll catch you in the next one. This money gun is fun. Click this link to see the most recent video upload. Click this link to see a video that YouTube thinks you might like. Click this link to subscribe to my channel.